Welcome back to the Afternoon Jams, broadcasting live on 98.5 The Wire, the voice of Pine Hills in Metro Orlando, and also live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, all those social media platforms. Following our conversation with different individuals who are running for office here in Orange County. Tomorrow is election day, and there is actually a judge race taking place. And we're fortunate to have one of the candidates on radio with us today, Christy Collins. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. I know you probably been to all these different debates, all these Zoom calls, and all this stuff, and you
Yes.
winding down. You can't wait to get this thing over with, huh?
Interviewed to death. I win, lose, or draw. I'm ready for tomorrow.
You're ready for tomorrow, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I heard nothing but good things
Okay,
about
great.
you. When Jay arranged an interview for the station, I know that whoever I'm going to interview got to have credibility.
Okay, that's good.
But to those people who don't know you, who is Christy Collins, and why should they trust you to be a judge, to put that robe on, and let a person know how they're gonna get life, or they're gonna get probation, or you're gonna go free?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna follow the law, but if they want to know me, I'm just like them. Like I said, I grew up in Miami, inner city. And I just trying to make it, just like everybody else. My mom and my dad, we grew up just like a lot of kids in inner city, and we didn't see a lot of professionals in our neighborhood. So, it was a struggle trying to decide, what I want to be and what I was going to do. But I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew I wanted to do something a little bit better so my kids could have it a little easier than I had it. So I tried to work hard as I could. When it was time to go to college, there wasn't a lot of scholarship money. There were some loans, but not a lot of scholarships. But I knew I wanted to go, and I had a talent. I could sing. I could play the piano. I took piano at school. I went to Miami, Carroll City, and eventually transferred to Miami Central High School in Miami. And so I worked at Burger King in high school. So I bought a Greyhound bus ticket. I borrowed an old green suitcase from my Aunt Eula, and I got on the Greyhound to Daytona Beach by myself. I filled out my college application, but I didn't have any money. But I went there determined to get a scholarship. So when I got in town at the bus station, I didn't know anybody in the city, so I had to hitchhike to BCU at the time. And I was just praying that the guy I got in the car with wasn't gonna kidnap me and throw me in the bushes and and kill me. But luckily God allowed me to get there safely. And I found the music building, and I talked with Dr. Steele, and I asked her, could I audition? So I sang a song for her, and I played the piano, and I got my scholarship that day. And I checked myself in the dorm. I registered myself for college. And then eventually I walked down the street because when I was on the Greyhound, I saw a Burger King on the corner. And I had worked at Burger King in high school in Miami. And so I went and got a job because I knew that's how it was going to be for me. I was so grateful to even be in college, but I knew I was going to have that resource that I could look back to should I need some money for this or money for that. It was on me. So I like to tell that story just because part of my platform is that I'm trying to inspire the right kind of fight in our young people. So, I taught at Robbinswood. I was a teacher for 14 years. My husband was a teacher at Evans High School. So I'm very familiar with Pine Hills.
Yeah.
And, one of the things I like to talk to the kids about is having the right kind of fight. Don't be so quick to throw hands. You want to be something better. You want to do something big with your life. Be willing to work for it because nothing worth having is free. And it's not going to be easy. Life is not easy, and it's not always fair. We're not all born with a silver spoon in our mouth. But if you want something, go get it. You go get it. Not look around and see who's going to give it to you and who should have gave it to you and why you don't have it because of this reason and that reason. You want better, go get better.
Exactly. Now, you have experience working within the court system, right? You were a traffic infraction hearing officer.
Yes, hearing officer, and I practiced civil law for a little over 8 years.
So I got to ask you this question now. Have there ever been times when you went with the people? I mean, you ruled that, okay, this person wasn't speeding, maybe the officer was wrong on this? It seemed to be every time I went there, I always got found guilty.
No, of course. Usually people, they just go ahead and they'll take the deal. I mean, this is traffic court, but I guess it's like that probably in courts, period, because rather than take their chance, they'll just go ahead and take, plea, no contest or something like that. And remember, this is traffic court, so nobody's going to jail in traffic court. They're just paying a fine, or they're going to school, or they may have to pay some extra money. But yeah, there were times when I found that, I thought the police were wrong, but a lot of people usually don't go forward to have their actual hearings. But there were some people that were, and I ruled on both sides of it. Sometimes I thought the police were overreacting, or their story did not line up with um, what all the facts after they came out. And then sometimes I found out that the defendants weren't necessarily telling the truth either, especially because some of the officers wore body cams. So, I've had stories where people would tell a story this way and that way, and the officer would pull the body cam footage. And usually we didn't have the time to show that in court, but every blue moon we'd go ahead and watch it because, I want to see. I definitely have experience on both sides, personally and professionally. So, we definitely want to get to the truth of the matter, and I want to rule fairly. And that's pretty much it. At least as far as I'm going to do, I want to be fair. And fair encompasses all the facts and all the truth of the matter. I definitely believe you have to have a certain degree of empathy as a judge. I want to be fair, I want to be just, but I just definitely want people to know that I know what it's like to be, in their shoes, both sides of it.
Attorney Christy Collins, running for judge. I think I'm getting a little feedback there. I don't know if the speaker's kind of loud, but
you might be. Let me see.
Yes. How are we looking on diversity on the courts, on the bench?
So here in the Ninth Circuit, which is composed of all of Orange and Osceola County, we have 66 judges. Mm-hmm. I believe we have probably 6 African American judges. I think we have some Hispanic judges. We may even have some Asian judges. So I think we are represented, but I do think that we could be more diverse, especially since our judiciary, at least in my opinion, doesn't reflect the community in which we serve. It should be a more accurate reflection. It should look more like the community. It shouldn't be so different that, it's, a very slim chance you're going to see somebody that looks like you or who could relate to you. And I don't think that's, everything that it should be, that you should only have a diverse bench because people want to see people that look like them. But I do think it's very important. People want to know that somebody who can relate to them, their everyday struggles, who looks like them, who might have grown up like them, is on the bench too. Right. I know I would. I want to see somebody sometime.
Right. Another issue that the people talk about is jury pool, having a jury that reflects the defendant, a jury of their peers. Yeah. How can your court guarantee if a person come into your court, they're going to see a jury that reflects them?
I don't know if any court can guarantee. I think it starts at a different level. It starts at people seeing courts differently and wanting to be on the jury and not. I have so many people that I know, probably friends that I grew up with or friends from college, people who don't want to do jury duty, know, because it takes away from work. It takes away from their personal time when you might be the perfect person to be on that jury, to stand up for this facts because you have this personal life experience. Oh no, in my neighborhood, that was something that happened. But if you always have a jury where people cannot relate to what the defendant has gone through, you're going to have people who feel like juries aren't fair. So I think it's a couple different things. I think people, especially our community, we need to want to be on juries. Like if I'm just like everybody else. I guess if I get called for jury duty, I'm going to feel like, that's going to take out of my day. But I know that parent or that man or woman or whoever it is who's a defendant is going to appreciate having somebody like me on the jury. And not because I'm going to agree with them and not because I'm going to say, oh, they're not guilty because they're a certain color, just because I'm going to really listen. And I'm going to bring to the jury box a wealth of life experience along with the legal experience, but life experiences. I've lived on all sides of the track. I've had experience with different types of people, and I'm not somebody who's living up on a hill who looks down on people just because they come before a courtroom or if they've had some disagreement or dispute or they've had some infraction with the law allegedly. Right. Definitely have grew up in, so many things. I grew up in gang territory, so I have seen a lot,
Right.
even in my own family, in my own household. I've seen a lot.
All
So I
righty then.
definitely think I can relate to
I
those
feel you.
people.
No, it's being real with it. Christy Collins running for a judge here in Orange and Osceola County. Now, what struck me, you just mentioned that that you can't guarantee that we can have a diverse jury pool. But I bet you if I asked you if I was white, there could be, you can guarantee they're going to get a prior pool that reflects them. Probably,
Well, I'm
right?
not saying I can't guarantee. I'm
I'm not
just saying
blaming
that I
you now.
think
Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming you. You didn't create this system. You know what
well,
I
I'm
mean?
not saying I can't guarantee. I'm just saying I think it starts on a different level because the judge doesn't get to pick the jury. The judge will get the question and probably try to, pull out people's biases and prejudices, and that can go a long way to helping, get out people who have the wrong mindset and the wrong demeanor to be on a jury. But a judge is somebody who sits and is supposed to call the balls and strikes like a referee.
Hmm.
So if you think about a sports, a basketball game, uh, the judge or the referee, we can call what we see as wrong. We can't
Hmm.
necessarily interfere. I think what it's really going to come down to is either change on a legislative level or for rules concerning juries and their compositions. It's supposed to be a jury of your peers, a jury of the cross section of the community, but that, as you know, that doesn't happen all the time. So I mean, so many things in our community is supposed to be a certain way, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that exactly happens. So I think we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're getting out here and we're voting people in office who have the right definition of what justice is. Not just what it is conveniently to me because it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me and my community. So I'm okay with the status quo. It needs to be just for everybody of every color, of every uh, background, of every socioeconomic status. It should not matter what you look like when you come in court. It shouldn't matter what you sound like. It shouldn't matter how you're dressed. I do believe in a certain respect for the courtroom, but it shouldn't matter how you dress. Maybe that's all that you had.
Hmm.
The only thing that should matter is the facts and whether or not, either if it's criminal, whether you committed a crime, if it's civil, whether or not somebody deserves this amount of money or not. It's the only thing that should matter because you don't know people's background. Maybe they didn't have the same as me. You don't know what happened that morning before they came in the courtroom. We need people who are reasonable, people who are from the community, who live in the community, not separate from the community, and people who can relate with everyday people. And that, I think that's part of the problem, that I feel like we have people in these positions of authority who just cannot relate. I want
Right.
somebody who can relate to regular people. People, you'll see me out in the community. People, you could talk to me at church, at the grocery store. Regular people.
Right. We're live on 98.5 The Wire, and we're live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. Jay Fortune has a question for you, Attorney Collins. This is coming from Pine Hills Talk and Pine Hills Partnership. Are you encouraged by the level of public awareness about the process of electing a judge? Has it been difficult to get people from our community engaged or informed about this race?
I am encouraged by it. Usually judicial races go under the radar, and most people never know who the judges are that are elected. Um, and that's because it's not as popular as the state attorney's race or the sheriff's race because maybe people think it's boring, but I think it's just one of the most important offices that people need to be aware of. Judges and can decide, make huge decisions concerning your life and your livelihood. So we definitely want to make sure we put the right people in the seats. You need somebody with a servant's heart, somebody, like I said, who's not going to see themselves above you, but truly a community servant, somebody who's there to make sure that the administration of law and justice actually happens, not somebody who has uh, alliances with people or who's into politics. People who are there to serve, true servants.
Right.
I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a minister in our community at a church here that used to be right in the heart of Pine Hills across from Evans High School, even though we just recently moved to Eatonville. And I'm also taught at Robbinswood Middle School and Bridger Park Elementary School. So I was a teacher for 14 years right in that community. So I know firsthand our community and the community in Pine Hills. And I just definitely, like I said, I want to be somebody that they can see, hey, she did it. I could do it
Right.
if I
And shout
wanted
out
to.
to Edenville. I think they celebrated birthday over the weekend too. Shout out to
Mm.
Okay, Attorney Christy Collins is on the radio on live on Facebook Live. What about endorsements? Would you like to share some of those endorsements you have
So
received?
I've been endorsed by the Hispanic Bar Association of Florida. I've been endorsed by, I think, Fund the People in Apopka. I've been endorsed by the mayor of Eatonville, Mayor Eddie Cole. I've been endorsed by some attorneys, but I didn't expect to get many endorsements, and I'll tell you why. I'm running against a sitting judge, so my race is a little different. I know people probably think all the judicial candidates are running against each other. We are not. So I think you recently had Judge candidate Arnold on here, Attorney Rhiannon
Yes.
Arnold, and you might have had Ms. Nix on here too. I'm not sure, but we're not all in the same race. They're in a different race. Rhiannon Arnold is running against Michaela Nix. I am running against Alan Apt. So there are 4 races going on, 4 separate races for those particular seats, and I am running against a sitting judge. So in the legal community, there are unwritten rules, and one unwritten rule is that you don't run against a sitting judge. Now, so I didn't grow up with judges and attorneys in my family. I didn't have it like that, you know. So I'm probably was less aware of this rule, or I knew about it. It just did not have the same effect on me as somebody who probably had a judge or an attorney in their family. Because I thought it was a good thing. It's a seat that's up for election. I believe the seats belong to the people, So, I felt led to run for this seat, so I ran for it. So I thought it was a good thing. But, you know, even personal friends, people are afraid to publicly endorse because they're afraid of backlash from doing so. So I'll leave it at that. So I didn't expect to
Wow.
get a lot of, public endorsements. So, okay, the endorsements I got were from people in the community. If you look at my page, it was from individual people, and those are the ones I wanted because I serve the people. I do want to be, you know, accepted by the legal community, because I'm a part of it. I want to be endorsed. I want them to trust me, but I am here to serve the people. So I want the people to be okay. I want the people to be represented. I want the people to feel like they can trust me and that I'm here to serve them. And I don't have any kind of preset agendas. I'm not a politician. I'm not here to buy a vote, win a vote. I'm just here to earn a vote, God willing.
What made you decide to run against a sitting judge? Were there certain policies or things you had seen that didn't sit well with you?
No, I probably get this question a lot, and I think people want to ask it, but most people don't ask. No, I've never practiced in front of my opponent. I've never had a case in front of him. I didn't know him before I ran. I only know him from the interviews. I am simply running for the seat. We had 19 seats up for re-election. All the seats belong to the people. I think people
Right.
get in this mindset that one person owns one seat. How dare you run against this person? No one owns the seats. The seats belong to the electorate. They belong to the voters. So it's just, to me, in my mind, it's just like the race for governor or president. There are terms. So for those races, there are 4-year terms. For our judicial races, you have 6-year terms. The legislature could have made that term longer, but they didn't. The term is 6 years. So every 6 years, you rerun. So the public gets to have a say so in who occupies that seat. So if they didn't like something, they get a chance to have another bite of the apple. Maybe the person I want whose views more align with mine, I can get in that seat. Or if, maybe I can get somebody who I think will do a better job, or somebody who's this or that. And that's the only reason I ran, because the seat was up for re-election, not because, I think any kind of way about the opponent. The seats belong to the people. And when I
So
was a
there,
hearing officer, they said that this is not a permanent position, so don't even think about it that way. And it's the same for these judicial seats. The seat does not belong to any one person. They belong to the voters. If the
and you have a
voters
right.
want to vote somebody different, it's just, yeah, the nature of the position. It's
The
the nature
reason
of the
why
position. This is not a career position for you to retire and get
I,
your,
I'm
at least in theory.
I'm a former military person, and the reason why we fight over in others overseas is for democracy. And we want the people to we want to have a free democracy, open democracy. So you have
Exactly.
a right to run for whatever position that is open. You just
Exactly.
we just have a right to ask you what was the reason why. And
No, and
also,
I'm
yeah,
glad you asked me because I think a lot of people are probably wondering. But like I said, culture, different culture dictates a lot of things. And like I said, the culture is that you don't run against somebody who's been sitting. But I feel like this is the reason why we lack diversity because
exactly.
the culture makes attorneys different type of attorneys. You need to have this certain background to run. You need to be like this. You need to have this alliance in this group. You need to be a part of this organization to run. That's why we lack diversity because people make it think that you have to have this certain criteria to be to be the one or to run
Clicks
for this seat or
and
and
clicks.
I don't agree with that. I think
Right.
we need the judiciary to reflect our community, and our community is a melting pot of people of different races, cultures, um, areas, practice areas, different backgrounds, different lives, different
Wow.
personalities, different mindsets. You can't have a whole judiciary where everybody thinks alike. Everybody
Right.
has been the same job. Everybody has been a prosecutor. Everybody has been this. You can't have the same thing. I don't believe the public wants an entire bench of the same kind of people. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying I believe
Say it,
this
sister.
is
Go
one
ahead
of
and
the
say
main
it.
assets of
You can
this.
you can say it now. You can say
No, I'm just saying
it.
because our judiciary here is a little diverse. We don't have all the same type of people, but I think the point is still valid. I don't believe the
Right.
public wants a bench of all the same type of people. You got to have different people with different mindsets. That will lead to decisions being more fair. That will lead to people believing that the court system is more fair. Having
Right.
different people, you can't have all the same type of people and then claim that's the only type of people that will make a good judge. I
I
don't
gotta
agree
do,
with that.
gotta do our top of the hour, WHPBLP 98.5 Pine Hills in Orlando. You listen to a live interview. I'm going over my 7 o'clock time slot, but it's okay. This is very important. Election is tomorrow, and we wanted to make
Yeah.
sure the people get a chance to hear the different candidates that are going to be on the ballot. Christy Collins is running for judge here in Orange County. A question coming from Jay Fortune, Pine Hills Talk. I'm proud to endorse you. How do you plan to continue your movement after election night?
Well, so a big part of my campaign has been just serving with a servant's heart. So I already serve in my church. I definitely try to minister to young people because that's probably a piece of my heart right now. And I have a big heart for the homeless community here. I do a lot of things individually. Um, it wouldn't be a crazy thing for you to see me on the street praying with a homeless person or just trying to give them some food or trying to figure out if I can help them find their family or put them up in a hotel for the night, those type of things. And I also volunteer at um, Jones High School quite a bit with their choir. So I've spoke with a lot of students. There, like I said, I'm just trying to let them see that there's so many different options and so many different opportunities that are awaiting you if you want it. And so I think that should be the course of our campaign. I want to model the right kind of fight, for the next generation. And that's another thing I wanted to say too. I don't mean to go back to it, but if people sit in the seats forever, it doesn't allow the next generation to have a say so in how the world runs. And
Well, Krista,
I'm not saying that we should
you gotta wait until they die.
and I am not trying to say we should just go ahead and kick people out of the seats. I'm not
No,
saying that at all. I'm just saying
let's
that
go.
it just gotta be some diversity. And I think in this time right now in our world, people are looking for things to change. And so whatever that change is for you, I encourage you to vote. Whoever you're voting for, just make sure you believe in them, do your research. Don't just vote blindly, but just remember, you got to put the right people in these seats. It can't just be anybody because your
Right.
family, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother may come before a judge, and you want to make sure that it's somebody that has a servant's heart.
Next question from Jay Fortune. What lessons have you learned over the course of this campaign?
Um, Other than I need a even thicker skin than I thought I had as an attorney. Just that you can never start too early, and that what you do in your past can definitely come back to haunt you, you know, or lack thereof, what you don't do. Like I've done, I serve my community, but I've never been the person that has, I'm not a person that has to post every single thing that I do. You know, I volunteered at Feed the Ville at my church for like 12 Fridays in a row recently over the summer. And I'm not somebody who has to take a picture and post it all the time. I was just talking to my husband about this. I say now I realize maybe I should have, taken some pictures because people want to see you doing things. But I'm just really about helping the people. I don't need some personal accolade to do that. I believe I receive my reward from God, for helping people and loving people the right way, treating people the right way, or putting the family up in the hotel that I did. Actually, it was on Facebook that some other attorney actually got the credit for that because they saw it posted, and I was like, well, it's okay because I didn't do it for the recognition. I did it because they needed the help, and that and people didn't see when me and my husband went to the grocery store and bought them groceries for the week and took cereal milk to the kids in the morning because she had children. People don't see the real service that goes on behind the scene because a lot of people just like to post what they do, so people could know they're out in the community. But I'm more concerned with actually being out in the community. So, but if I need to post a couple, so people could see, I can. But that's not my heart. And I think I think the public wants real people. So I'm gonna be real and I'm gonna be who I am. I'm the same person right now on this show that you'll meet in the street. I'm not putting on a show. I'm not putting on a costume or some persona like I am this different thing. And then you see me in the street and I can't even say hello. I'm not that.
Right.
I'm the same person every day.
Attorney Collins, last question is you got to tell the people why they should vote for you over the incumbent. So, last question.
So in this race, I'm a person, I don't believe I have to dull anybody else or put anybody else for me to shine. So I've made it truly about me. So I definitely think that the people want to see somebody that they can relate to, not somebody who's sitting up on a hill who see themselves above the litigants that come in the courtroom, but who's from the community, who lives among the people, who has had experience with their children. I'm a regular person, and I think people want regular people. People want people that they could actually talk to, that they could actually hang with, that they could go to a movie with, somebody who they can approach in the grocery store, not somebody who's standoffish. And I think that's what we're begging for in this time. I think that's what, at least some of the causes of all this social unrest that's going on. People are tired of these strict constructs that say things are supposed to go a certain way because it's been that way for so long. Time out for all of that. It's time for all of that to end. We need change. And if you're looking for change and you're looking for somebody with a servant's heart who's going to truly be there for you, who's going to love you regardless, even though I may not rule in your favor, I may not even agree with you after I hear the facts of the case, but I'm going to respect you. I'm not going to make you feel less than who you are when you come in that courtroom. You're going to know that I love you regardless of what has gone on. And I think if we had more of that mutual respect modeled in court, respect for the people that come into court, the victims, respect for the victims, respect for even the alleged defendants, because we don't know if they've actually committed it at the time, respect for the court staff, respect for the attorneys. I think there needs to be a mutual respect. A lot of times, I won't say a lot of times here, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. A lot of people, they are afraid, like you were talking earlier about coming in the courtroom. Even when I was a hearing officer, I remember 2 cases where this elderly guy, he came up to talk about his traffic ticket. He was trembling and I couldn't figure out why. This is just traffic court. Why are you trembling? And I think I found out, or I thought that it was his first time ever coming before the bench. Now, I wasn't a judge. I was a hearing officer, but to the public, it looks like I'm a judge because I'm sitting on the bench and I'm making rulings on their case. So it made me realize the gravity of who sits in that seat, the authority. That's why you just can't throw it away and give it to somebody. That's why you just can't bubbles because I don't feel like researching the people. Those people hold your life and your livelihoods in your hand. It matters who it is. It needs to be somebody who has a servant's heart, not somebody who's happy about the authority and the power.
All right. There you go. Pine Hills,
Thank
West
you.
Orlando. Christy Collins tomorrow. The website. What's the website?
It's Christy Collins for circuitjudge.com.
All right. Well, we'll be in
And
contact.
that's FOR, not the number. Christy Collins for circuitjudge.com.
And I got to say this personally. I love it when I see our young folks run for office. I'm an OG. And I love it when I see our people run for office.
I'm not that young. I'm glad you think I'm young, but I'm not that young. I am probably your age. But
okay. Oh wow. Okay then.
But I'm still considered young.
You're my age. You're supposed to run 20 years ago.
Okay, so well maybe you just look young for your age. Maybe
right. Look, yeah. I'm OG. But it makes me feel good when I see people run for the first time, because that's what democracy is all about. And don't feel like you owe an explanation to those people who trying to like, why you running? Why you running? You know, you running because you have a right to run and you believe you have a place. You should be at the table.
Yes. Preach. I just went Facebook Live not too long ago, and I was talking about, sometimes people make you feel like you're too small to meet the moment. But there are people just like us. I have to tell myself this all the time. All these people are people. Everybody is people. Right. This is why we need to treat everybody with the same respect, because you're a person just like me. You get up in the morning. God gives you the breath in your lungs and your eyes to see, your ears to hear. It just matters what you do with the life that you've been given. And no one's life matters any more than anybody else's. So if you have a right to be in the seat, so do I.
There you go. And you deserve to be there. All right, family. Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
And good luck. Okay.
Thank you. Right. Come out and vote tomorrow. Don't forget. You can't afford to forget this year.
All right, Orlando. We got to go extended broadcast today. Going back to normal programming. Thank you to Jay Scully for arranging the guests. Thanks to all our guests who joined the conversation today. Back to more music. It's Afternoon Jams, 98.5. Peace and blessings.